Hello there! So, something I've been wanting to do for a long time is build a larger-than-life costume. In this case, I wanted to build a mech. I feel that these type of costumes really are the most realistic per se because it's not the size of a person. So that's what made this one very special. The type of mech I wanted to build, I was really not sure of. I thought of doing like a Transformer, something from a movie, but then I thought of something back way from my childhood. A game I had not played in years, and that was Ratchet and Clank All-for-One. Now, there was a specific mech that you could unlock through these secret mini-games, and let me tell you, these were impossible. In fact, I went back in the game recently. I say that, but this video is like months after I went back in, and I have not beaten the minigames until now. Like, they were that difficult. So instead of just playing the game and unlocking the mech, I decided I was going to just build it in real life. So after I decided what mech I was going to build, I went online and started looking for references. And I found 2 images on the entirety of Google. 2. Now, this could be because I was specifically building the mech for Clank, but yet again, I didn't realize how not on the internet this game actually was. So I had to actually go back into the game and beat those minigames after all, just to get references for the mech, because I had literally only the front view. And let me tell you, this was not easy. These minigames were just as hard as I remember them, so this is a lot more effort just to make a costume than I thought. But now that I had my references, it was time to get to building. So I started out with a pretty large cardboard box, which just so happened to be about the right size. I decided I was going to add a hatch to this, which isn't actually shown in the game, but there's got to be a way to get in and out of the mech, right? So I kind of DIY'd that because I was going to be wearing this to a Comic-Con, and I am gonna put up another video on that. It's gonna be a long story. And I also kind of wanted to put like a little Clank puppet on the inside so it would look like he's actually piloting the mech, but I never got that far. Alright, so I got most of the torso done. It's not complete though, because I just got it done enough to the point where I can put it on, but there's gotta be something different for the arms because this material is already really heavy. I'm going to be wearing this all day at a Comic-Con for like 10 hours. So I'm gonna use foam for the arms, and hopefully that will be lighter. It's light enough right now, but I don't know how light it's gonna be, so anything that needs to be light will be made out of foam. Anything that I'm not really going to be carrying will be made out of cardboard. Use a torso piece, right? It's already really big on its own. Like, this is my hand. This is how big it's gonna be. My head's gonna go right in there, and like, I have so much space in there. So I want to get a good size reference to how big this is gonna be, and to put up some pieces of foam over here to see exactly how big it would be. This is the biggest costume I've ever made. This thing is huge. This is just the torso piece and the arms. I still gotta do like a backpack piece. I gotta do like legs. This thing is going to be gigantic. I have no idea how this is gonna work in a Comic-Con, but who knows, maybe they'll have bigger doors than a regular door. To hold the torso piece to my body, I actually used like a suspender build from some backpack straps. If you ever want to build a mech, I would recommend you build them with the same material that you use on the mech, so it's very secure. I then cut the corners and glued those back to give it a rounder shape. And here you can actually see the mech once it's all shaped up. You should notice that it's a little wobbly, and that's because I didn't add enough support. However, if I added more cardboard, it would have been too heavy. So foam is probably the better option if you want to build something like this. I don't really have an explanation for how I built all these pieces. I kind of just cut them out, made sure they fit onto the mech, and made it look like the picture. I did have to mirror some pieces for like the shoulder parts and the backpack, but that's honestly about it. So this design for the arm piece is a little complex, but I was able to figure out the pattern for it. All I had to do was angle all these pieces the exact same and lay them flat before I did the segments. But I did the segments first, and now I'm having... you can't quite see, it's overlapping. But now I'm having a problem with overlapping, so I'm going to have to probably shorten these pieces a little bit. So here is the harness that is going to hold up the arm cannons. I tested out the weight, holding it for a while using the mech, and it was way too heavy. I'm going to have some pieces attached, but I can still put my arms in here in case I want to move around the arms and stuff like that. And I'm going to attach the belt. This is just a regular belt, and it's going to hold the back here from below. And I'm going to have some straps coming off the top. And then this harness will also attach to the lower legs, because the upper legs are going to be attached to the belt piece. The lower legs will need to be held together by something, so this will work for both of them. I need to add the belt on, and then to secure it, I'm going to use a piece of foam. I don't really need to add the piece of foam, I just need to glue this to the back, because this is going to hold tension in the front. I will need to glue foam up here, though, for the straps, but we'll see how that holds. So the whole idea of building this was to actually enter into the costume contest at Fan Expo Boston, and just from my experience there, if you're going for more than just a costume contest at such a busy place, wear a smaller costume. Or have somewhere to store it, because I didn't really think I've head that far. Another thing I wanted to do with this costume was build it mostly out of cardboard and see if I could make a costume for cheaper. And I also used a lot of foam that I had on hand, so it was very nice to not have to buy stuff. So if you were to look at a picture of the character, the waist piece for the mech and the legs does not work for a costume on a person. So I'm going to have a full waist piece, and this will be the center of it. And then here is where the joint piece is going to be instead of on the side. And this is going to go on the outside of my leg because my leg will be right here, and this will go on the outside. And then I'll have one joint here, and I'll mirror on the other side. And it'll have to be, my leg will be visible, but it'll look good. I am currently working on the largest piece of the leg right now, and that is the middle piece. So there's the upper leg piece that I pretty much have constructed the base of, and this is a half of the piece. Actually, this is a middle piece, so these two need to connect at a joint kind of thing. And this piece has to be wide enough for my leg to fit in, so I'm going to have to make this much wider than I originally anticipated. And I also have to create a sort of harness or a second piece to the leg in there so it will actually fit and not just slide down. It's going to be a long process. So right now this just looks like a cylinder. If I add that, hold on. If I add that, it gives it so much detail. Because I was using cardboard, I needed something to cover up all the corrugations before I painted it, so I decided that spackling actually was the best material to use. It did add a lot of weight, however it made it smooth enough to paint on, and the paint stuck to it better. I did have to go over with a layer of Mod Podge afterwards because it wasn't shiny, so it's probably better to use foam, but if you want to use cardboard, spackling does work. Okay, so I just finished my first test walk with the legs, and the shoes are strapped fine. I might need to add another harness piece on the second side just because of the weight. But these are the problem. They are way too large and I can't bend my leg, so I'm going to have to cut it up to here at least, take this part completely out, and then I'll add the curves in again. But yeah, that's how it went. So I have pretty much finished the first layer of spackling for the mech, but this is just on the torso piece. I still have to do all the arms and legs, and I only have about a week and a half left till Comic-Con, so yeah. This is what I made for the mask base. It's just half of it right now. But when I go to here and try and export it to a paper model, all these pieces are bent. So I go over here and modifier, triangulate, and I guess I just go here in an object. So now it should be all fixed, right? So I go to File, Export, and that did nothing. So I'm gonna have to make new one here. So this is what I ended up modeling. It's just a fourth of it, but I can put all these together and it'll work. And I exported it to the printer, and I did 1:1 scale, so it was the exact size, and this is the correct size. I got me a tiny little piece of corn. How's this gonna work for a mask? I don't know, I'll figure it out. It's gotta be resized, so it's gonna take a bit. The only foam pieces that I was able to get a somewhat pattern for without having to do too much work was the mask, and that's because I was able to model it in Blender and cut out the pieces to the right size. But everything else I had to pattern just by looking at the reference and made sure it fit to me. So it took a while. I went ahead and heat shaped all of the mask pieces before I glued them together with contact cement, just so it would be more rounder and not as angular. there we go. That is a pretty good mask. I can't fit my head in there, so I'll have to trim that up a little, but yeah, there it is. I was going for accuracy with the mask, so I made the hole at the bottom just enough to fit over my neck. So I had to make a hatch in the back to like lift up when I actually put the mask on, and I just secured this with some magnets. I also wanted a moving jaw on this mask since I wanted the character to look alive as possible, and I wasn't able to add that, so I might do that in the future sometime. I also replaced this jaw because it was looking a little wonky, and I did that with cardboard and spackle because it looked better and it opened and closed smoother. I wanted these eyelids to be able to move, and I was going to puppeteer them with some bike brake cables. But getting the mechanism right took me forever because these eyes were flat and they didn't have regular eyelid shapes. So this took me a long time to figure out. I just installed the lower eyelid, and it works very well. It's just, watch that piece. I need to add a layer of cardboard all the way around, and I need to do the top for the mouth movement. So it's going to be very sturdy. This is just a Christmas bulb, and it fits perfectly. Okay, so it is currently like 10 o'clock right now, and it's Thursday. The Comic-Con is Saturday. But here's the mask, and I got this thing done. Hee. Okay, so tomorrow morning is Comic-Con, and this is all I have right now. I'm gonna start laying down these pieces. I'm gonna paint that, add all the details, and then I have to Mod Podge this entire piece. Along with the leg pieces, arm pieces, mask. I've got a lot to do. Okay, so the torso is almost completed. All I have to do is paint the lines here and some on the back. I have all these little bolts that I need to paint and put around. I have some here that need to be repainted. And then I have to make the interior, paint the legs, paint the arms, and the mask, and I'm all done. Alrighty, the costume is almost complete. In here we have a hatch piece which keeps falling apart, and to fix this I just poke 2 holes on either side and use zip ties. It works as screws and very sturdy, so this is not going to come apart at all. So I am all set. months of building and working, this was finally completed. I was very happy with the results. It took me a long time to figure out everything, but it was all worth it. But it was short-lived, unfortunately. I finished it at 3 a.m. the night before the Comic-Con, and let's just say it didn't really last long at the Comic-Con. I will have another video explaining that, but for now, here are some progression clips and some things I wanted to add but I ran out of time for. I'd say I'd learned a lot from building this, what to do and what not to do with it, and here are some things I actually wanted to add that I might end up adding later if I ever rebuild this. One of them was to make the arm cannons actually spin with the controller. The eyelids are controlled by bike cables, and I was going to put those inside of the torso and have the arms to be freehand, so like I didn't have to move those around, so I could control the eyelids and make the character look alive. But I never got to that, so if you ever want to see more of this costume, just let me know. But thank you guys for watching. I know this was a long video, but I've been meaning to get this out for a while. So leave a like if you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.